Good
afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Capital Projects and Tenders Committee. We joined, I think, with our Councillor Hartshaw, who was on Zoom a minute ago. Are you still there, Ian?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I just can't quite see you, but there you are. Welcome. Also welcome to Councillors Davidson and Mayor and members of staff. Okay, do we have any apologies so far? Did I hear from Francois or Paul? Okay, no apologies. Declarations of interest, I think, has been circulated on Teams. Encourage you to members to have a look at that and complete it as appropriate, just for this quite important. There are no urgent items to be dealt with. Okay, let's move to item 4, which is the minutes of the 2 previous meetings, one of the committee on the 12th of May and there was an extraordinary meeting on the 11th of August 2020. Both were very brief meetings, you will recall, to deal with specific matters, and those minutes have been circulated and you will have read those. So can we have someone to move, if there are no issues arising from those, someone move please that the minutes of those 2 meetings, the 12th of May and the 11th of August, confirmed as a true and correct record of those meetings. Someone move that.
I'll move that.
Councillor Davidson. Councillor Hart. All those in favour? Aye. Item 5 is the action list, and that's on page 5 of the agenda.
Yes, so through the Chair, there was action or the resolution out of previous Council Capital Projects and Tenders Committee was to dissolve the Westland Wilderness Trust as it serves no purpose now. We are still arranging for that previous committee members to form and resolve to close it, so that's underway at the moment. So we should have an appointment for that meeting coordinated in the very near future.
So that is to be terminated, that trust. Correct. Okay. Anything else, Son?
No.
Thank you. Okay. We have a mover. Someone move that for the chief, Councillor Davidson, and Mayor. Thank you. Okay. Staff reports. Item 7. Louis, over to you.
Good afternoon, Deputy Mayor and Councillors. Right, the purpose, the particular swimming pool redevelopment report, I take that as read. I can highlight the following. In the report, it refers to consultation with interested parties for the swimming pool. At the time of the report, it was stated that staff has not yet met with key stakeholders, but a meeting was scheduled for the 10th of September. Now, the meeting has actually occurred, and there's been a meeting with the interest group for the swimming pool. I can report back that the result of that meeting was very positive. The only concern was that the ramp for the access ramp for the pool has been moved, so the toddlers will not be impacted by the actual ramp going into the pool. Right, so other than that, was the conclusion of the consultation, so that was positive. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Julie? I can start off with one.
Yep.
I take it that whilst the plan's been prepared and looks pretty good,
Yep.
has there been any scoping prices and so on to make certain that whilst we might adopt this as a proposal, that we're able to bring it home under the funding of
I'll answer that question. So there's been a significant amount of work already done on the concept plan, which I've left a copy in front of everyone, so just for reference. So the concept plan was developed on the basis of what the available funds is. And we need to understand the fund is capped. That's a defined amount of dollars we've got to spend on this project. So it started off with working up. The priority was for us to look at the filter system for the pool, the treatment of the pool liner. So we'll install the liner. We looked at the actual structure in the building, what's required there. So we looked at external cladding, especially on the gable ends of the main shed. We also obviously looked at replacing all of the facilities, including the offices, staff room, an emergency room or first aid room. And that was sort of the starting point. So all of those components were listed down, and we've done a full cost exercise on that. The cost came out higher than the available dollars available. So we then looked at what was options for us to trim back and get the budget back to where it should be. And that's resulted in the plan that's been presented today as a staged approach to the swimming pool development. So we believe that the first stage will be covered by the available funds, and that costing exercise has now been completed, high level. And then there's stage 2, which the costs have not been fully calculated out yet, but that will be going into the LTP as part of the full work.
So who's done the costing?
Right, so we've appointed Team Architecture for the project. Team Architecture is an innovative design collective group. They've got 9 branches across New Zealand. They've got significant experience in swimming pool projects, and hence they've been brought on board as the experts. And they've been contributing to the structure and some of the pool infrastructure, but then also we've appointed Coombs from Christchurch, who's been involved with the swimming pool for many years, both Ross and Kitika pools, but also they have got 40 years experience in developing swimming pools and renovating. And they've mainly focused on the filter system, drainage for the pool, the liner system and so forth. And they fully costed that out for us.
So what's the go forward here in terms of the plan? We adopt it now, then what are the next steps?
Right. So for the next steps would be to complete the design drawings and concept for the pool into proper construction drawings and tender set of information. So then that will then be worked up into a tender that will be we'll put out tender for building works, and then separate to that, Ian Coombs will be appointed as a specialist contractor for everything related to the pool drainage system, filter system, and the boiler room works.
Just through the chair, the other piece of work is to confirm the schedule of works with the funding agency. So we have to go back to PGF and confirm our schedule of works. So the challenge here is the 2 months. Once we've signed and approved the contract is starting works within 2 months. What that works will be is yet to be defined based on the schedule that has to be defined.
Is there any further consultation required? We've consulted with the interest groups. We use the pool. Is there any further consultation required?
So stage 2, we believe wider consultation is required. So In terms of the asset we have, it's more of an upgrade, so we don't see it as requiring full public consultation. But when stage 2, it will use that LTP process as a consultation process for the additional add-ons, if you will.
Okay, councillors, any further?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Louis, there'll be people watching this meeting and they'll be wondering what that means for their 6 o'clock swim or their midday swim. What's your feeling on, are we going to be out of order, out of action for a year, or are we going to be, have you got any idea?
Right, so, the pool will probably be shut down for a total period of around 3 months. And that's required because the pool needs to be emptied to be able to line it. The pool needs to be level, so it's slightly out of level at the moment. We're installing pressure relief valves in the pool, so in other words, that the pool in future will not be affected by river levels and in tides, which has been an ongoing issue for the pool. So you can't empty it when there's a tide or high river levels. And then in addition to that, we're completely replacing the pipe system and the drainage or the filter system for the pool. So all those pipes need to be excavated, installed around the pool, actually core drilling into the pool for the new inlets. So for that, obviously, the pool will be emptied and as I said, so at this stage, the estimate from PUMS is 3 months.
Through the chair, when's that likely to be, that 3 months?
Obviously, subject to council today approving us to go ahead as proposed, then we need to start work in 2 months from signing the contract with PGF, which is on the basis of going ahead with this concept. That means that works will also have to be completed within 12 months of the start. So we've got a bit of flexibility in the 12-month period to figure out when we want to do this. We will work with the swimming pool and with staff at swimming pool to ensure that that has the least impact on the current school operation. So Kim will probably bring in care that will work preferably in the offices.
Through the chair, just the, I understand the renovations were done through the 2016 plan, was based on that. That's correct, like the appendix 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7.
Yep.
So, have they been met, those requirements?
So the requirements, correct, for the concept plan is obviously still being worked on,
yes.
But the intent is to meet all those requirements.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And it's really good that you've met with the current users
Yes.
at the moment, and that's really good positive feedback from them. Just another question is that, have they ever considered about putting in some infrastructure along where the new water hall is going to be, some pipes to cater for maybe a hot pool on the northern end of that.
Correct. So the pipe work will be installed for just easy connection in the
Yes.
future. Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't have to revisit or dig up the area that will now be paved around.
Yeah. What I'm talking about is an additional a hot pool, something that's a little bit larger than the existing one there.
So those details we haven't finalised yet. What the exact size of the future pool. What we envisage is that work will obviously invest more time into that once council approves the let's call it this two-stage approach to the swimming pool.
Could be stage 3 or something like that.
No, it will be a second
Okay.
stage.
Okay.
It's just a matter of
Sure.
what do we want, There will be a full consultation process on what stage 2 looks like. At this stage, it's a principle.
Just through the chair, just trying to get a bit of point of clarification. So you're talking about an additional set of pools for hot pools rather?
Yeah, just even just one hot pool on the northern end of the new
What do you
warm
mean by
water
hot
pool.
pool? Spa pool.
Spa pool, yes.
Spa pool in there.
Yeah, I see that. That's quite a small one. I'm talking about a larger one that would, cater for, quite a few people.
It's obviously not part of these plans.
That's
Not
correct.
currently, no.
No, but
So all I'm talking about is putting the infrastructure and like the pipes. And I don't think it'd be a great deal of cost, just in case they wanted to extend.
Yeah, so the answer to your question is we will provide the main feed from the boiler room to the boundary of the building, which then sort of joins to the future expansion area. And then from then we can expand it and develop however we see fit. So that process will form part of the
That's fine.
expansion of that project.
any further issues or questions? Councillor Hartshorn, do you have any?
No, through the chair, no. They've all been covered by Councillor Davidson.
All right, thank you. If you look at the page 9 of the report, it takes us to the options. This is option 1, adopt the proposed development plan. Option 2 is to adopt the proposed development plan. And the third option in 7.1 is to adopt option 2. So someone prepared to move that all the recommendations in paragraph 8 that council receives the report firstly. And secondly, that council adopts the concept plan subject to stakeholder endorsement and proceeds to completing stage 1 with a $3 million grant expenditure. And that thirdly, council includes stage 2 in the 2021-31 long-term plan process. So I'd like to move. Well, I'll move that. Someone like to second?
I'll second it.
All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Well, councillors, we need to be excited by this. This is a fantastic development for our district, and I think a while ago none of us would have imagined that we would have the ability now to be improving one of our principal district amenities, the pool. So thanks to the Provincial Growth Fund and for those that made this possibility for us. It's fantastic for the Western District. Right, good, thank you. That's good. Thanks. Oh yes, it's the update on the.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Mayor and councillors. This is a quick update on the capital projects currently and looking forward. The capital projects team has been quite active on a couple of fronts, and I hope that I just give a bit of an overview of what's been achieved. So let's start off with the Three Waters capital projects. Work recently completed. We've installed the new Haas water reservoir, Timber Reservoir, and that's TIP funding was applied for and successfully granted for this project. And the TIP funding has already been approved for the project, so that's in the bank. Transit Street, stormwater pump and sump upgrade have been completed. Jolly Street, we've done a lot of stormwater improvements up Jolly Street, including CCTV, up the pipe systems for, there's a lot of tree roots and so on found in, and that's all been cleaned out in our maintenance work happened there. We've now installed seismic valves in Haas, Ross and French Joseph, and 6 more coming. Those seismic valves purposes in the case of an earthquake, the water reservoir or the volume of water in our reservoirs is safeguarded. So the valve would automatically shut down and avoid draining of the pipe of the reservoir if there's pipe breaks. And then for Blue Spur, we've done a lot of telemetry upgrades for the Blue Spur facility. This is now a most modern part of our plants and probably right up there with compliance, or exceeding compliance requirements now for real-time telemetry. Also quite important, we are working closely with the Western Milk also for them to access that telemetry for their water quality. Right. Looking forward in potable water projects, so Fox Glacier Water Treatment Plant, that work is currently, the tendering process has been completed. Recommendations for a contract to be appointed will come to the council shortly. Just looking on the finalisation of that. The next one is Ararura Treatment Plant. That is actually will be for decision for council today. So that tender process has been completed. We've got a preferred contractor ready to go. French Joseph, we are looking at replacing some water mains in Cron Street. That's been planned in conjunction with the Cron Street project, an upgrade of Cron Street. That is also one of our capital projects that has been funded through the COVID funding initiative. Then, as I just mentioned, some more seismic valves to be installed in the other treatment plants. So as I said, we've already completed Ross, France and Haas. The Haas reservoir, just mentioned that's all completed. The funding has gone in. Payment, Ross, the new water intake for Ross. Currently, we are waiting a design to be approved by DOC for fish screen design, actually, on that intake. And then basically Friends, Blue Spur, Harrier, Whareroa, all those water treatment plants are being upgraded at the moment. There's some flow meters, telemetry, security, fencing, and a general list of safety measures being upgraded and installed in those plants. Right, so capital project for wastewater, I can point out there the Frank Joseph wastewater treatment plants obviously now completed. We're proud of that project. Then the Fox Glacier wastewater improvements is being planned. It's just on hold at the moment with some land easement negotiations continuing for those ponds. So basically the treatment ponds will be supplied with aerators in power supply. Community sewage pumps have been upgraded. That will shortly be scoped. And then Fitzherbert Street stormwater pump is being fitted with a generator, standby generator. So this is all part of the resilience plan. Right, stormwater works, a couple of projects there. So we've got Beach Street, bit of work in regards to improving the drainage in Beach Street. We all are aware of the ponding happens along the steps. It's been addressed. Jolly Street, there's a lot of work around there. Currently completed by Stantec, so the scope of works is completed for that. Civil Street, pump station, so again, a bit of electrical work upgrade there happening to make it more resilient. Livingston Street pump station upgrade as well. We've got contributions we've allowed for contributions to future developments. Currently, council is receiving a fair bit of new subdivision applications, and we've got a fund there for our contribution, council contribution to those expansions and new subdivisions. Canary, a lot of CCTV work is being carried out on the section sort of around the school, Canary School. There's some known drainage problems there that we're addressing. In solid waste, we've postponed the Fox landfill capping works at this stage because of the Fox landfill now being receiving the waste coming. Sorry, the Butlers landfill capping has been postponed because of the Fox landfill waste coming up to Butlers shortly. The Haas capping will progress. The Haas landfill will close this year, and then that waste will be transferred to alternatively to Butlers. And then the bin replacement program has been rolled out. We've indicated that Habitic's about 80% complete. There's further bin replacement to happen further down south. There is also a bin replacement, increase in capacity for further down south, especially around tourist areas in bins being supplied. Right, so leisure services and facilities, so recent works, so we've completed just about Sunset Point project being completed. The funding is already been approved for Sunset Point, and that's progress. Basically, we just need to complete the power supply and the toilet plumbing for the toilets being provided there. And we're just finishing up some of the, basically, when we're joining onto the beachfront work, just completing some of the landscaping and the mounds cover. Carnegie building project still on hold. It's pending heritage funding confirmation. We are working on a plan B regard to Carnegie building as well. So that is still on the radar, and work is still continuing on the next stage for Carnegie. Street lights, you'll notice that in Weld Lane, we've got some new lights being installed, and there will also be shortly there'll be new lights going down Gibson Quay, sorry, and those will be heritage lights for Gibson Quay. Can also point out that we've obviously done the upgrades and repairs. We moved Woodstock, our kiosk up there and the displays, and thanks to whoever's helped us there with the details. So that I think the last list that's outstanding, we know Woodstock is the photo of this gallery. Right. I think it's in here we've got policy workshop completed up at the 7th week. The leasing of the guidance will also get some attention to it. We've got the project
First of all, you're pausing. I see Paul Badgett joined us on Zoom. Paul, welcome. Meeting.
Louis, I suggest you come and sit here closer to the microphone.
right.
Thank you. Apologies for lateness.
Probably sunny up in Greymouth today, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, after that shower just before.
Welcome anyway.
Right, for the cycle trial, it's at Lake Canary is progressing. We now schedule that project to be completed closer to November. The bridge installation, there's a bridge installation on that section of cycle trial, where there'll be potentially quite a feature. we're just working on costings on that at the moment and had to reprogram that works. It was originally going to be completed in October, so we're just moving that out to November. Then Taramakawa, the major maintenance work on that section has been 80% completed. Those who use that section in trial will understand that there's been some subsidence on the trial there. A few potholes that we're fixing and other bits and pieces. The Mehanapu viewing platform, that is subject to MBA funding, and we're waiting the outcome on that. DOC will actually support in constructing that platform. That's a viewing platform on the lake, and it forms part of the current walking trail. And basically branches off the river and looks, so you can walk out the beach and look out the water. And then we've got, as I said, the shelters the Mehanapu and Rimu toilets. So at the Rimu car park, where the Mehanapu walking trail starts, there's toilets to be upgraded. So that's also subject to MD funding, because that will form part of the future Mehanapu loop cycle trail, if that eventuates in the future. And then the Gentle Annie trail, it's an enhancement project. The application is in for that, and we're waiting the MD response to our application that's already been submitted. That is a community funded project, and council's not contributing to that project. Any capital.
Question. Paul, your hand's waving around. You have a question?
Yep, thank you. Wasn't sure of that. Thank you. Just a question there. When you say it's a terrible connection today, I'm not sure if Ian's finding that as well. But so I'm not sure what I heard there with Mehanapu and Rimu shelters. You're not talking about Rimu itself, are you?
No. Now, Paul, sorry, through the chair, Councillor Madwick, that is actually a toilet at the car park, we call it the Rimu car park, for where the Mehanapu walking trail starts, just between Treetop Walks and Rimu. And it's a toilet with a shelter, so it's just a lean-to roof over the toilet, so it provides some shelter.
Long way from Rimu.
Yeah. Right, thanks. Right, so capital projects for leadership, there's a bit of work happening around the head office fit out. We're just doing some reshuffle for staff's areas on the middle floor, and also actually on the lower floor. That's all being planned at the moment, and works will shortly commence to relocate some staff, and obviously the chamber rooms will also be considered potentially as part of this project. The more important item here is the earthquake assessment report being completed for building, and it's been earmarked to come to the next council meeting.
No, sorry, the October council.
October council meeting. Right. Gabba. Sorry. Just getting my presentation to come back to it's a bit slow. Right, transportation. So we've completed the Allen Road Bridge replacement. That's a defective bridge. It was removed, and we've installed some culverts there to rectify that problem. As you can see on the photos there attached, Lake Canary Road, there's been a dropout there at McKay's Creek, and we've repaired that. Quite significant rock work completed there, but that also protects the main borderline coming to Arkitika. So that work was as a result of the flood damage, and so that is funded through the flood damage fund. Then Airport Drive, the footpath extension there has been completed. Right, so for currently there's quite a bit of work underway, which is not part of the normal maintenance program for roading. So Jackson Bay Road last weekend have seen some significant slips. There's been a total of 6 slips along Jackson Bay Road, and contractors are currently clearing that up. The road is open. It was closed last weekend, last Sunday for a brief period of time. But also there's significant sea erosion issues along Jackson Bay Road in the first section of it. The first 8 kilometres, there's probably 1 kilometre of it currently under threat from ocean erosion. That work has actually commenced today. The advantage of the slips that happen along the road is that it's generated about 300 tonnes of rock. It's now handy for a lot of repair works we have to do. So it's the project that keeps on giving. There's some concerns. There's a new slip that just opened up on Jackson Bay Road, and it continues to be a challenging section of our south roading network. Lake Canary Road dropout, we've already discussed that. Right, so capital project footpaths. So just to give a brief overview of the footpaths that we're planning to do this year. I know there's always an interest in this topic. So Canary School to Canary Hotel, we've actually progressed that work, started last week. So we're ripping up sections of that sidewalk and repairing it. So this is not a replacement, this is a repair. And then from Canary Road, from West Road GR to the Townbelt East, there is also patching and repairs happening along that section of road on the footpaths. For the Roa, we are planning to spend some $6,000 there on the back street footpath, so that's not on the state highway, but it's the back street. To Ross as well, there's areas there to be confirmed. We got about 10K to spend there in footpaths, and then Hukatika we'll spend the 25K, and inspections is underway to finalise the scope of work, so we'll give an update on that in the next opportunity. I've just included in the slides the reseal program for this year for roading transportation. So for those who are interested can see which roads are being resealed for this financial year. Right, capital projects for transportation coming up. Sugarloaf Bridge needs removal, and that bridge will potentially be replaced with a bridge that's available that's being made available by NZTA for us to place. Sugarloaf is actually the bridge, currently the bridge function is actually leads off to a quarry, which is being reopened, hence why that bridge is important. Proceeding to Milltown Road bridges, so again, this maintenance work's been carried out at the bridge ends, and a more permanent fixture for those. Baltic Road Bridge replacement, so there's 4 small timber bridges there at the end of life and under capacity as well, and they've been replaced with culverts that will provide better, higher loads being able to travel across Baltic Road. That's been a long-standing issue for the milk industry to get access along Baltic Road with especially for dairy, transporting dairy across that section. Totara Valley Bridge replacement, so the timber bridge has been replaced with steel and timber structure that's been again made available. So the present bridge is at end of life, and it's failed its last inspection, so that is quite urgent to progress. Right, infrastructure funding projects. So This is the Provincial Development Fund. In the major part of the capital money being made available in those projects have now been agreed to be the Fox Landfill waste removal for 3.3 million, Grant Street extension, and the footpath extension on Grant Street. We've got Old Christchurch Road, Jackson Bay Wharf, and Hokitika Swimming Pool, as we spoke about earlier. I can give a quick update on Jackson Bay Wharf is progressing well. The timber is currently on the water from Australia, the hardwood timbers for repairs to the wharf. Mainly the causeway, and then also the main wharf will have some repairs done. The timber will be landed on the 5th of October, and then work will commence in all earnesty. Mainly pile replacements on the wharf, and that's a challenging project. It's being in the tidal zone, and also in that they do copper a fair bit of storm events down there in Haast. The challenge for us to complete this project within 12 months is conditional to the funding received. So we'll keep a close eye on that and make sure we use every opportunity to complete that works in time. Christchurch Road will be ready for tender in about 2 weeks. It's a seal extension of Christchurch Road. Grant Street, that works, the design works already commenced and well underway. And then for Fox Landfill, we've got 4 sets of consultants already appointed for Fox Landfill work. So that is mainly around consents for the excavation of the Fox Landfill. Also the consent for the new cell construction out at Butler's for the new cell that was approved as part of this works. There's also ongoing project scoping for the actual excavation of the Fox Landfill. So that is quite an exposed area, as we can understand, along the river. We need to be, that work is very careful in how to execute that in a safe manner. Right. Sorry, if anyone's got questions, can I just put up with me and ask you along the way? Otherwise, we can have questions at the end, but there's quite a bit in this presentation. So probably good if we've got questions, just interrupt me. Right, so said for the infrastructure reference group funding projects, we've got a project manager appointed, so is to not interrupt or distract our business as usual for council. This is all additional to. So funding agreements have been received and contracts have been finalised for signing by the 2nd of October. That's our target. We'll try and get that done before. Design planning, tender documents, consents, all have commenced on all of these projects, and contractors to be appointed assumed by around the end of November. With 2 months from signing the contracts, we have to get a spade in the ground. That's hence why November is the sort of target to get the projects underway. 3 waters reforms, stimulus funding. So we've reported to council now on the tranche 1 of the government water reform stimulus funding offer. That's been and now we've signed the MOU with for this to receive the funding. The next step is a delivery plan to be submitted for endorsement by the Crown by 30th of September. The delivery plan can include current LTP capital projects that we can bring forward. Operational costs can be covered by this, and also any obviously projects that is currently being planned but not executed under the annual plan. So anything outside of the annual plan can come.
So we prepared the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. We prepared the plan. They will turn around approval for that in 4 weeks. So it's endorse the plan. So, the only exclude, we cannot unfortunately put any cost that's already in the annual plan to this fund. Right, so the delivery plan is currently pretty much developed. It's a project management function externally budgeted for all of this work. This doubles the amount of investment in capital works for 3 years for council. So very, very important that we get the resources on board for executing the projects. We spread the resources for the projects being planned to be completed. That includes construction consultants, modelling, specialised equipment supply. So we spread the work across a wide range of functions and activities. So we ensure that we can spend this money in 12 months and get all the work done. Projects that will be included would be the obviously the Hokitika wastewater treatment plant project. Scoping design for that project is part of that. Resilience is a key focus. So generators are specifically supplied to a lot of our treatment plants, increasing and improving our capacity for resilience, automation, monitoring, compliance, control and safety, septic acceptance and management is part of this project. So currently we don't have a septic acceptance or management process in place. And then discharge inflow and infiltration investigation. This is where we will investigate and making sure that we don't get sewage, so stormwater loading in our sewage systems, because that will add cost to council to process water that should go through the stormwater system.
Just one point you missed there, Louis, is what we've tried to focus on is spreading the contract of the projects across the whole district. So each area or each township will have some aspect of this funding.
That was it. Thank you.
Well, that's a tidal wave of working. It's a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
So the project manager, will he be the delivery plan?
The delivery plan is pretty well developed now, so through the team inside council we've managed to, because we already know what our 10-year program looks like. It's quantifying what the best bang for our buck is actually going to deliver. So what we try to do is put some objectives in there and try to work towards that. And I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that, and to obviously optimise what money is available as well. So the delivery plan is pretty well locked and loaded now. The resources, we've got one project manager for shovel ready already on board. The other one, we've already contacted someone to be available for 3 waters projects, and they're available in 3 weeks' time. So we'll have the right resources on board.
Great. Okay, just for our questions from councillors, the amount to be spent on the refurbishing of this building, 171,000, in the event that the building has to be seismically strengthened, which is inevitable to be staying here, is it wise spending that sort of money at the stage in case it has to be effectively respent if the fit out work is going to be affected by the seismic?
Yeah. So we're waiting for that report to come back before we do anything significant.
Right.
So just doing minor reshuffles at the moment to accommodate organisational fit.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're not doing any major structural work.
Right. So the 171,000 forecast spend, that's not going to be spent until we know what we're doing.
We're spending a short amount of it, but not all of it.
You say short now.
We have to, so we're looking to move finance back down the stairs to where it originally came from. Just setting up that area with the right, I suppose, amenities to be effective.
Okay, when's Sunset Point going to reopen?
So the last of the Sunset Point work is now the line marking, and it's just subject to weather. And then the completion of the power supply to the Tango, the toilets, and the sewage connection. So we preempt that, at this stage we preempt that we'll be able to open Sunset Point 5 weeks out from now. So that's more obviously the target.
Can we defer the line marking until future, until,
Yeah, I just wonder why we can't open the road, so that people can use that would impede, their space for toilets, for example, because that's not on the roadway.
No, it's not on the toilet's not on the roadway, and it's not critical, but the toilet's going to be operational from opening. So, yeah, we can bring forward the opening of the actual road itself.
Because it seems desirable with white baiting and so on to have the roadway, that access opened up ASAP.
Correct.
All right, any questions?
Through you, Mr Chair, I drove down to the point this morning, the road was open and, yeah, it appeared to be,
Oh, so it is open?
yeah, a lot of people down there.
Oh, great.
Drive around,
It's
have a
not
look.
officially open, so the line marking is still.
You haven't cut the ribbon yet for us.
There'll be a party that day, Dave. Be a party.
So it's fantastic to see that, isn't it?
Oh.
It's just one of our signature amenities, that place, so it's fantastic.
You through the chair, just on the Sunset Point there, that's really good to see such a good job done on that, like, you know, that sealing of the roading and car parking, getting that done last week with the ground being so dry, with a tremendous result for the community.
Yeah,
So it's really good to see, and some of these other projects that you've completed and near completed, is a good result. Just one question I have is that do you see any potential major risk with the target timeframes and costs to any of the projects?
Right, so thanks to the chair. The only problem, target that we've had a problem with was the cycle track. Other than that, there's no issues. I will probably further express just a budget around the Aralura water treatment plant. We'll deal with that under that item. We might deal with that later on under the presentation. There's no concerns.
just through the chair, we have a lot of obviously carryover projects from the last annual plan we need to address as well. So in terms of bringing all that back to this committee and making sure we're on target, there's a lot of, I suppose, detail work that needs to go in behind that. We are expecting to bring a more comprehensive financial report at the next capital projects meeting, probably a 6-month review of how we're tracking.
Thanks, Simon and Louis, and once again, a well presented report, really good.
Mr Chair, I work in the building each day and I have no idea. This comprehensive report staggers me. It just staggers me. I'm quite stunned. It's amazing. You say you've done a tremendous job. Gosh.
Thank you.
Action in every direction, fantastic. What we're here for. Okay, sorry, Councillor Hart, sure.
Yeah, just a statement for Lou. I'm just wondering before the next lot of sealing on Kami Terrace, Crescent, I mean, there's a couple of driveways there that aren't actually driveways. I've just dumped a cubic metre of gravel and they come out into the road a metre. Is there any chance of some sort of pressure from council to sort those out before it's resealed?
Right, so I'll take that on notice and discuss that with my transportation manager and see what can be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Yeah, Paul?
Thank you. Through the chair, just wondering what's been planned around the kiosk at Canary. It's a bit messy around the front of it. I see where the work is for this year for the extending the footpaths at Canary, but not in that area. There's no curbing or channeling and no formal car parking and no ceiling. But that kiosk is very close now to being unveiled.
Again, Councillor McClurk, I'll take that on notice and I'll report back to councillors.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, no further comments, questions? I'll move that the report group manager just has to be received. Someone second that? Councillor Hart?
Yep.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I think we now need a motion to move into public excluded. Please, someone move. Worship and second. Councillor Hart, all in favour? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're now going to have a minute or so adjournment.